Welcome to the Monday Morning Cooking Club lunchtime chat. Today we're talking about bread and crackers, my favorite. I'm really excited actually to talk bread and crackers. Come on in everyone, good morning. Hi Amanda, Amy, Annette. It's like romper room again.
Are you looking through your square mirror? Or you're round?
No, I think she looked through
Isn't it a mirror? It's like a looking glass.
Like a looking glass. I can see Joy and Jan, Hillary, Esther, and Julie, and she had a really nice voice. Karen and Lily. Hello, Lisa and Michelle. Good morning, everybody. Come on in. Just call me Miss Helena. Is that her name? I think so.
I think
Good
so.
morning, everybody. So nice to have you here. Come on in. Hope you've got something delicious to eat during our lunchtime chat. Otherwise, you're going to be absolutely starving by the end. I've got my cup of tea. What have you got?
I can't wait to slice into my loaf of bread. I'm waiting to do it in front of everyone.
What are you drinking, Jax? Water?
Just water. It's really a gin and tonic, but I'm telling you it's water.
I'll grab mine.
I think we should almost make a rule that we need espresso martinis for morning events. What do you think?
Nice. Or an Aperol spritz. It's a bit early, but still could be good.
Though? Bit wintry now for Aperol spritzes, do you think?
The sun's out.
The sun is out here in Sydney today. Good morning, everyone. Come on in. Make yourself comfortable. We'll start in a minute or two. Grab yourself a cuppa or a drink or whatever you feel like, and make sure you've got something to eat, because we promise you, you will get hungry. I'm already hungry thinking about what we're going to make. Come on in, everyone. Welcome, welcome. I'm just going to get the chat up. Oh, Lily, can you see us now? You said you can't see us. Hi, Esther. Good afternoon to you too. Hi, Jan from Lismore. So nice to see you. Hi, Jan.
And hi, Danielle. I'm glad you got on.
Can anyone just tell me, can you see us? Okay, just give us a thumbs up if you can. Lily, perhaps you need to change some setting on your computer, perhaps. Yes, that's right. You can see us, but you can't see anybody else, because we're doing this because there's a lot of people here today. It's easier to do it by webinar rather than Zoom meeting. But I guess if there was the feedback that everyone wanted to see everybody, we could actually do it in Zoom meeting, but it's up to you. The other thing you can all change is you've got on the top of your screens either a speaker view or a gallery view. And the gallery view shows the three of us, and the speaker view shows whoever is speaking. I prefer gallery view so that you can just see everybody, and otherwise it just changes all the time. All right, so thanks, Amanda, for letting us know. Great, thanks, Shirley, Eleni. Thanks, Esther. All right, welcome everybody. I think we should get going because you've all been so good to arrive in the kitchen on time that it's not fair to make you wait any longer. I am Lisa. This is, I don't know which way she is, Jackie.
Hi.
And Tanya. And
Hi.
3/4 of the Monday Morning Cooking Club. Marilyn had a last minute thing that she had to go to, and she won't be with us this morning, but hopefully next time she will. And we'll just have to carry the weight between the three of us, and I think we can do it. All right. So today we thought it would be fun to talk about bread and crackers, because it's such an essential part of every single thing that we do, every meal we have, whether it's breakfast, whether it's lunch, whether it's afternoon tea, whether it's drinks before dinner. You always need bread and crackers in your meal. I actually can't think of one meal where you wouldn't want bread and crackers. I don't know, you know, it's just essential. So we wanted to share with you some of the favorite from our 4 books and from our own kitchens, and give you some hints and tips and tricks that we like to do and our favorites, so that you will all be inspired to go and make your own bread and crackers. We'll start, and also we would love you to actually talk to us throughout by chatting away. You can just type in the chat, click on the chat button if you haven't seen it at the bottom of your screen, if you're on a computer. Where is it on the iPad, girls? Do you use it at the top, or is it somewhere different?
Just run your cursor over the screen and all the buttons pop up at the bottom, and one of them in the middle says chat.
Yeah, and there's also a Q&A. You can also ask questions, which we will endeavour to answer during the lunchtime session today. So let's get started. And I think a good place to start, because Natty looks like you're itching to go, standing there and ready. So I'm just going to have a quick run through with all of you of what we're going to do today, so you know what to expect, and then we'll go over to Natty. So We're each going to show you something that we've made. Natty's going to show you the oat and seed bread, how she makes it from scratch. Going to show you actually in real time. And then, of course, there's one she's baked before. And also, she's going to come back later with a dip that you will all want to go and make. Jackson's going to show you her finished lavash and talk through that. That's probably our almost #1 cracker, I think. Well, it's hard to know because they're all so good. And she's going to talk through that. And we're going to show you a quick video from Marilyn, which was so lucky that actually that happened, of making knackebrod, which is this absolutely outstanding seed biscuit. And that's a quick video to show you how to do it. I'm going to show you how to make Syrian pizza, and you won't believe that this can come out of your oven in 5 minutes. And then we're going to talk dips and other things, and then we'd like to hear from you what you have to share with us. So let's start, Natty, over to you, and let's talk health. Well, it used to be called health bread, now it's called oat and seed bread.
Yes, and it's actually a Irish soda bread with seeds. That's what it is. So it's great to have another recipe in our book where you're making bread and you don't need to use yeast. You don't need to leave it to rise. You just use your buttermilk and your baking soda, and that's what gives it the lift in the bread. So it's a very quick one again. What I've got in my bowl is, I used spelt flour today, any wholemeal flour, or actually any flour, any non-rising flour that you've got, you can use. So I've got my spelt flour, my oats and my salt already in my mixing bowl. And I should just say, the recipe in our second book makes 2 loaves. So I made 1 loaf last night. I split it, made 1 loaf last night, and I'm making 1 today. So I'm going to give you the...
actually this book.
Yes. And I'll give you the amounts for 1 loaf rather than 2. So I've got 300 grams of flour, 50 grams of rolled oats. I think it's half a teaspoon of salt. And into that, I'm going to mix in 75 grams of mixed seeds. What I've used is what I have in my, I keep them in my freezer actually, and it's pumpkin seeds, sunflower seeds, linseeds, and sesame seeds. So that's my mixture, and we're going into the bowl. I'm going to give that a mix up.
Sorry, it's on page 32 of It's Always About the Food, our third book.
And it's really the most, you don't need any machine or anything to make it. It's, you've got your dry ingredients. I'm going to now do my wet ingredients. You mix your wet into your dry, voila, into the oven at 180. Your oven should be on, which mine isn't, but that's okay. So half a teaspoon of bicarb is now going into about 190 mils of warm milk. And
why does it have to be warm is my question. Lise?
I think to activate the bicarb, to get it going, get the froth happening and get the air going into the loaf. I wonder though, really, if you just put it into cold milk, whether it would actually make any difference, because you are baking it anyway. You know, something like when you make honeycomb and you put the bicarb into the warm mixture, you get the bubbles, but you're not cooking that, right? So you need it at that stage. So I actually don't know. I wonder if we should do a test run sometime.
Good. So, and into that, I'm going to pour my 250 mils of buttermilk.
Yeah.
Then
already looks good.
Beautiful. I'm going to add in, it's 2 teaspoons. I'm just going to do it, but it's actually meant to be 2 teaspoons of golden syrup, and I actually don't mind having a bit more because I love the flavour of golden syrup. If you didn't want to use golden syrup, I was thinking of other things you could use. Maple syrup would be fine. Even rice malt, if you were being really healthy and you didn't want, you know, something sugary, I suppose. Or honey would work beautifully as well. Give that a mix up. And then I'm going to pour, that's my wet, all ready to go. And that's going into my...
I just love how super quick these breads are that don't need yeast, and they produce loaves that are just delicious in no time.
Wait to cut into the one I've already done. And that. Get gets mixed up into like a fairly wet mixture. You don't want to over mix it. So just till it comes together, and then into your loaf tin and into the oven for about an hour. It says an hour 15 in the book. Mine was ready yesterday. I'll just leave that and just show it to you now. In an hour and 5, I was happy to take it out. And I don't know if can you see it there? That's, oh, I left out a few steps. So I'll just go back to this, because once you've mixed it up, before you put it into your loaf tin, I almost forgot, you make an extra little, like 20 grams mixture of oats and your mixed seeds, and you put half of that, just half of that onto the bottom of your tin, and then I'm going to put my mixture in. Just want to get it mixed up, and half of it is going to then sit on the top. And as you can see it is quite a wet mixture, which is what it should be.
I guess if you would have forgotten to put the seeds at the bottom, you just could have put them all on the top.
Yeah, it's not
seeds and oats, yeah.
All right, and it's just going in.
So if anyone wants the recipe, Natty just went through it, but if you can find it on page 32 of It's Always About the Food. And this recipe comes from a girl, Hayley Goldberg, in Hong Kong, no relation, in Hong Kong. And she lives the most interesting life in Hong Kong. And if you've got the book, it's worth reading her story. And this is a bread that I think started in Melbourne or South Africa, maybe, South Africa. And then it was passed from friend to friend to friend to friend to friend to friend to us.
Yeah, and I remember meeting her I was in Hong Kong, and I went to meet her. I remember I took her the book after it was.
That's right.
Yeah, she's a lovely girl. And then I'm going to sprinkle my seeds on top.
Yum, looks good already.
Yeah, and that's it. And then that goes into the oven. So that's it. So let's just get a slice and see how it looks.
No.
But it smells so good when it was baking. It's actually a beautiful bread. Look at that. Let me see.
I'm leaning forward to look.
I know.
There. That's what it looks
leaning forward that way.
Oh, looks good, Natty. We might be around for lunch.
like. Beautiful, beautiful. I'm going to taste a bit with butter, and then I'm going to come back and show you a dip that I'm going to make that would also be really nice on it. That's the ocean seed bread. Easy, easy.
Thanks, Natty. It's funny how recipes come to us over the years. There's so many different ways. And this one came to us, it just came back to me. My friend Jackie Blake takes it to everybody, to all her friends, you know, if they need cheering up, or they're feeling sad, or they've come back from a holiday, or whatever it is, someone's not well, she'll take a loaf of this, she called it health bread. And I tasted it once at her place maybe, or she brought it to me. And it was so good that we then traced where the recipe came from as far back as we could go. And we actually went, well, we didn't go that far back, but we probably went, I would say 30 years ago, 35 years ago. And how is it, Natty?
Delicious. It is delicious. It is beautiful. It's quite a dense crumb, but it's not, but it's still light. It's beautiful, beautiful.
And what I like to do is slice it really thinly and toast it. And then it's really, really crisp and yum. Anyway, thanks, Natty. That's great.
Lisa, Linda says, which butter do you like best?
I love Pepe Saya. I love Pepe Saya salted for eating. It's my favourite. And we just go through it in this house like you wouldn't believe. We always have it out on the bench. In winter, it's fine. In summer, you do need to refrigerate. And it's just delicious. It just tastes like real butter should taste. Yum.
For eating, but for baking, Western Star, we like, the chef's choice.
Is it Western Star? Yeah.
Unsalted? Unsalted.
Unsalted for baking. Yeah, Pepsi also have amazing butter for baking, but I think because we go through so many blocks and blocks and blocks and blocks of it, it's easier to use the supermarket one for us. But for eating, Pepsi without a doubt.
I'm just going to open the oven. I'll be back in a moment.
Okay, all right. So let's talk. Jax, do you want to talk about your lavash now, or shall I do the pitta first?
No, I'll talk about the lavash first. Okay. So I made my lavash yesterday, and it is such a simple recipe. So it's little work for great reward. So instead of going to the shop and spending a fortune on buying those packets, you can now make your own, and you can shape it however you like. So it is a simple one bowl mix, and you just put wholemeal flour, which is easy to find at the supermarket now. It's got a mixture of black sesame seeds, white sesame seeds, and oregano, some sea salt, and you make that becomes your dry mixture like Natty's bread, and you make a wet side bowl, a bowl of liquid things of extra virgin olive oil, water, mix it together, add that to the dry ingredients, mix it round. It's again, a wet mixture. And you can find that recipe also in our third book on page 25. And what I do, the book says to smooth it out. I actually do it between 2 pieces of baking paper. So you divide your mixture into 4 and get one lot at a time and put it in between 2 pieces of baking paper and really roll it out as thinly as you can. So it's like very thin. I'll show you in a minute. And you, when you've rolled it out, you use a very sharp knife and you run it down the mixture. I go fast because it seems to not drag the sesame seeds. If one sesame seed gets stuck on your knife, it sort of drags it with, but it's all very rustic. So actually it doesn't matter. But if you get a good sharp knife, not a serrated knife, but a good sharp, I don't know what they call it, a paring knife or whatever, and run it down, it has a nice finish. And then you get your olive oil in just a little container and you brush it over those pieces. And one thing that I've done quite regularly is forget to add the salt at the last minute, and it is everything. You've definitely got to add the salt. So you can sprinkle whatever salt you like to use. I use the Malden and sprinkle over the top. And just you take the bottom baking paper, put it on the tray and put it in the oven for 15 minutes. And in 15 minutes, it is ready to eat. It is delicious. Usually I have to make 2 batches because my family go through it so quickly. So you've got that. Don't forget you've got 4 sets of mixture to put out onto the baking tray and bake. But it is fantastic, absolutely delicious. And I'm going to show you.
And then I've actually got some photos I can show you of the making, so to make it clear. But that looks beautiful.
So that can be like in the shards, but I mostly make it to the long strips. But if you wanted to make it like the shops, they've got the long sort of oval pieces, so you can really play around. It's just knife work, but it is.
And it looks so beautiful on a cheese board, doesn't it? Like either in a glass standing up.
I stand it in a jug.
Yeah. Do you use sesame oil in yours, or do you just?
Oh, sorry, I did use sesame oil, and that gives it the lovely flavour.
It does. You've just got to be careful that your sesame oil doesn't go rancid because it goes so quickly, and if you don't store it in the fridge, it's really a very bitter flavour. I remember once years ago, I made a batch for something. We were doing an event, and I used bad sesame oil, and you just couldn't eat it. And then I thought last time I made it, I should leave the oregano out. I don't know why. And it just isn't the same. Like the recipe as it is really good.
I often leave out, don't you brush it, the garlic?
I leave out the garlic.
I leave out the garlic too.
Oh, you know what I've done in my book? I've crossed out garlic, so I don't even remember it anymore.
So you can put a clove of garlic in your oil before you brush it on top if you're a garlic lover. Nikki wants to know temperature for lavash is 160 degrees.
Yeah.
And it's such a great recipe. And I'm just going to show you quickly. I'm just going to share my screen for 1 second just to show you. It's from our Instagram the other day. Can you see that? See, I'll go the other way because this is the beginning. So there are the ingredients, which is exactly what Jack said, the liquid and the dry. and then it takes what, 4 seconds to become a dough. When we did this one on live television from start to finish, well, obviously not the baking, and it just is so quick and easy. It makes a beautiful dough. Divides into 4. Rolls out. See, Jax does between 2 baking papers. I think that I do 1 only, but I know, Natty, you do 2 baking paper as well.
I roll it between baking paper. It's so easy, clean, no mess, no sticking. It's lovely.
And then you just peel off the top piece of baking paper before you oil and salt it, and then it's easy.
Yeah, so you can see the flat dough, and
it's thin.
Yeah, we're missing 1 step, but you can see how it's cut before it's cooked, and then it's cooked to look like that. And I think it's just really such a fantastic recipe, and it's a must. You will never buy packet lavash again. Do you agree with that?
Yeah.
I never have.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to take you over to the kitchen and show you the Syrian pita. So just chat amongst yourselves for 1 second. Now,
my recipe was from Cherie Stone. And in the book it says, who would have thought something we've always bought in packets is so easy to make at home with ingredients from your pantry? And it's true. And everyone that comes over, they don't want the bread, they don't want anything else, they just want to eat those. They're so crispy and crunchy. And a little tip, if you're storing it in a Tupperware or in a plastic container, you can use those little dry sachets, you know, those little ones you get sometimes with pills, or what are they called? I don't
know.
Have you got one?
And it helps take the moisture out of any moisture that would be in with the biscuits, and it keeps them fresh for ages. Mind you, they don't last for ages because they get eaten.
I keep them. These things, there are deoxidized, the desiccant things.
Yeah.
I mean,
sorry, I can't find it.
I've got mine, found them, and I just keep them. They're really good. They're really good. All right. So let me just show you something truly amazing, which is the Syrian pita. And this is in our, I'm forgetting, third book, we've got an amazing chapter on bread and crackers, which is why most of the bread and crackers are coming from the third book so far. But what it is, it's Syrian pita, and I've just made this morning. You just make a dough with flour, and I'll give you the measurements in a minute. Flour, tiny bit of sugar, salt, yeast, and water. There's no rising. You actually just mix it together. I did it in the machine, but you actually don't need to, till you get a really, that wasn't a good idea. A really, it's sticky. A really soft dough like this. And you just get the dough, and straight away you take off a ball about that size of the dough. You have extra flour. It says it in the recipe. And on a board, you just flour, make a ball with the dough, and make a circle, make a flat disc about 9 or 10 centimeters, like that. So I haven't risen the dough or anything. I've just made the circle. I've made the ball. I've rolled it out, and then on a floured tea towel. It's really important that it's floured because it will stick. You put your disc that you've made. I did this just before we went on air, and flour the top and put a tea towel over it for at least half an hour. But I want you to know that I did a batch earlier this morning because I had something else to do, and they sat like this for an hour and a half, and then I cooked them and they were just as good. So you don't need to be too strict with the half an hour. It's minimum half an hour. And now what I'm going to do is just put them in a hot, which is 200-degree oven. You don't need to flour or grease your tray. They've risen a little bit since they've been sitting here, and I'm going to put them on the tray, and I'm going to cook them for, the recipe says 5 minutes, but I find they need maybe 6 or 7. So I'm going to, you can see they've puffed up. They're lovely and warm just from sitting on the bench, and they're very soft and feel like that yeasty baby's bottom feel. And I'm going to put them on the tray into the hot 200-degree oven, and you just won't believe what they look like when they come out. And I wanted to show you in real time so you would see that there's no tricks, and I didn't go down to the local store and buy them. They're truly the simplest but most impressive, amazing thing. So they're going in the oven. I'm going to put them in the top. I want it really hot, and I'm going to time, where is my timer? I'm going to put 6 minutes. Okay.
And again, they look store-bought. When they're finally finished, they look like they're straight from the store.
Okay. About 6 minutes, and I'll come back in a minute, and I'll take you back over there now. That was very quick, but the dough is so soft. It's actually, I'm just in love with yeasted dough. I don't know about anybody else, but the smell, the feel, everything about it, it's just so much fun, and you don't need to be scared of working with yeast because it's just fun all the way. All right, so I'm just going to bring you back. Technology amazing. And these are the ones I cooked earlier, but I want to show you the fresh ones anyway. They really, I made these a bit small, probably too small, but when you open them, this one actually didn't. They normally naturally split themselves, but I think because I made them a bit thick. But you can see the inside, it's absolutely beautiful. And the outside is like a pale, but a bit crusty.
Linda's just asked what book. It's from book 3, and it's on page 47.
Yeah, and really, I'm using all my control not to just eat this now because it's really delicious. All right, so I'll show you the ones that come out of the oven shortly. So that's the Syrian Pizza, and yes, Jax, did you tell the page number?
Yes, page 47.
Did I say that my ocean sea bread came from the second book when it's actually the third?
Yeah.
So,
yeah. But I don't want to leave the new book out because that would be really mean. And luckily, thank goodness, Marilyn was going to do the knackebrod from this book. And that is a recipe that we got from our friends in Glen Innes. We had the most wonderful weekend. What was it, 2 years ago now? 2.5 years ago. Glen Innes, which is in New South Wales. It's a beautiful country town. And we were invited, and it was one of the highlights, I think, of our journey so far, to be the guest chefs for the Glen Innes gourmet food fiesta. And we went for the weekend, and the hospitality, we've never seen anything like it. We were welcomed with open arms, and we cooked all weekend in the tent there at the at the big stadium or the central oval, and it was just absolutely amazing. And one of our friends, Belinda, gave us this amazing recipe for knackebrod, and it's in the book, and it comes from a friend of hers in Sweden. And I just want to show you the picture of it in the book, and then I'm going to show you a quick video of Marilyn making it, which is really great, which has not been shown to anyone else yet. Is it in the, does anyone know what page it is? Oh, here we are. Okay. So the picture is on page 292, and that's what it's there. And we've also got, this is like the savoury chapter. We've got salty sticks, we've got cheese biscuits, and they're all delicious for drink.
here's some in real life, Lise. We always have it at home just to snack on. So, and I've kept them in quite big shards because
Can you bring it closer so we can have a close look? I'd love to see it. Yeah.
Break up as much. It's such a good snack when you just want something. It's just seeds, basically.
We don't have them so much at home because otherwise I just eat the whole container of them.
It's a good thing to eat.
I know, but they're so, when you put like half a tub of butter on them, it's, it's not something you want to eat all day, but it's really, really good. So I'm just going to show you now the quick video from Marilyn making, and you can, if you've got the book, you can look up the recipe, but she also goes through it. Hopefully, if there's anything you want recipe-wise after this session, please just send us a message on anywhere, Facebook, Instagram, email. You can email me, lisa@mondaymorningcookingclub.com.au, and I'm happy to answer any of your questions. Okay, so let's look at Marilyn's video, and this will just be, I think it's for 5 minutes. This is very technologically advanced for me, but hopefully we'll get there.
You can do it, Lise. Come on, you can do it.
Think so?
Yeah. And I'm looking forward to seeing your Syrian pita bread.
Me too. Oh, it's going to come out in the middle, so that'll be perfect timing. Just bear with me for 1 second. Oh, here we are. Okay. So I need to go share screen.
And then we can talk about Tanti Fugette.
Exactly. All right. So, yeah, we're sharing.
Hi, everyone. I'm starting to gear up for the weekend and having a few friends over.
I've got no volume, Lise.
huge shout out to the other girls from Gourmet Fiesta. We love you up there. Hope everything's going well. So I'm just going to make a start. I'm doing a half batch because I've done one before to show you. So there is pepitas. This recipe is gluten-free and vegan and lasts quite a long time. I just put one of those dry sachets in with it. So it's really so versatile. Pepitas, sunflower, sesame seeds. The full recipe is 100 grams of each. 50 grams of linseeds. I'd like to say it's healthy, but the most important thing is that it's so delicious. And then there is some salt, really need it. And this is besan flour or chickpea flour, but I'm pretty sure you could substitute with any other flour. I really like the flavour of it and it's gluten-free. So that goes in, pretty easy. Just realised I don't have a spatula, be right back. Mix all of that up. And then in here, I've got water. It's normally 200 mils and 2.5 tablespoons of extra virgin olive oil. I've got the half quantity, of course. Goes in here. And no mix master required. You just mix it up into a very, very wet mixture. Don't be alarmed because those linseeds are actually going to activate. We set it aside for 15 minutes and when they activate, they become kind of gelatinous and gluey. And so that's that. Can you see how runny it is for now? But here's the one I made 15 minutes ago. After the linseed has worked its magic. There we go. This is the recipe from our new book, Now for Something Sweet. Now, the hardest part, which means it's really easy, is just spreading it out on the tray. I use my little angle palette knife because I love it and it's really helpful. You could use a spatula. It doesn't go super duper fine like lavash. But you want to get it to about 3 millimeters thick. And so that can take a little bit of effort depending on how fussy you are. I find it easiest to not put it all in one blob because it really isn't a mixture of rolls. You have to kind of just spread it around patiently. So I try and spread it to start with. And I'm not going to bore you with getting too fussy. I'll do a rough job on this one and then show you the finished product. This bakes at 140 degrees. I think I better check that. 150 degrees, I'm sorry, for 1 hour. So it's a slow bake to really dry it out and bake it right through so it goes super duper crunchy. And I just love it. It is so good with a piece of really flavoursome yellow cheese, some Gouda, an aged Gouda, or I think this weekend I'm gonna do it with a Comté Gruyere. But even just putting it on a breakfast platter with ricotta is delicious, or serving it with dips. Now that's probably a little bit too thick, but I really don't need to bore you with it too much more. I will thin that out more and I'll show you on the ready finished one what it's like. Here we go, and you'll see how thick it is. This is one that I baked just before, so it's still warm from the oven. So after an hour, it's a deep golden brown, and when it's cool, or even now it's crunching beautifully. I'm just going to break it into shards, and when it's completely cold, pop it into a Tupperware or plastic container. The other thing that needs to be done before you pop it in the oven, give it another little sprinkle of salt. And that's it. It is so delicious, so Moorish. and I think the kids will love it too. Bye.
Bye. That's so nice. Okay, so please, oh, thanks, Linda. She was impressed with my tech skills. Yeah, really good. Thank you. Okay, hopefully, please write any of your questions. We're happy to answer them as we go along. So that was great. That shows you how simple it is to make knackebrod. So we've now shared with you, I'm not going to say the top 4 bread and crackers, but a pretty good range. We've got Syrian Pizza, we've got the health oat and seed bread, we've got the knackebrod from Marilyn and Jackie's lavash, and they're all different and they all will be part of your repertoire from now on. I just want to show you these little hot things that have just come out of the oven. Look how, they're just so beautiful. Every time I've served these to visitors, people say, where did you get them from? And you can see how simple it is. She used, Sophie, she used besan flour. That's B-E-S-A-N. It is chickpea flour. But she did say you can use any. So you can see now this one's worked perfectly. There is a little pocket inside, just like the ones you buy. It automatically made an air pocket inside, perfect for stuffing with whatever you like. But I quite like to eat them just with butter, olive oil. See a pattern here. Butter, olive oil. Really, it's beautifully plain, which makes it a good vehicle for pretty much anything and any dip. So let's just talk dips for a minute. Before we go to, oh, Jack, sorry, you're muted. Hold on, Jax, you're muted. Yep, sorry, say that again.
I was going to say that recipe, do you remember Tante Huguette came into the kitchen and she bought her her bottle to roll, she used an empty bottle to roll the dough.
Yeah.
And she came and shared all her secrets with you.
For which one? Oh, for the pizza.
From Huguette.
Yeah, that's right. From
my makatonim, from Danielle's auntie. Hi, Danielle.
Yep. So Jackie's daughter's husband's mother's aunt, right?
Correct.
That's where this amazing recipe came from. And she came to the kitchen and showed us how to do it. Look at that. Like I just want you to see that it's true. Like it formed its own pocket. It's a miracle. It's the miracle of pitta. And I'm not going to eat it now, but maybe when you all go. Nikki, quantities of which one? Just tell me which recipe you want us to mention quantities of, and we will. And we'll just start talking about some dips now, because, you know, there's a million dips. And I remember when Jackie and I used to be in playgroup together with our kids, those were the days of the, what did we used to have? The water chestnut and spinach dip. Do you remember that one?
Cob loaf.
Yeah.
And you used to make, yes, it was just.
What was in it? Spinach, sour cream maybe? Or?
And that water spinach made it all crunchy, and you used to hollow out the cob bread and keep the lid and put the dip inside and put the lid of the bread back on.
Those were the days. And we used to make, I remember French onion dip using French onion soup packet. I'm sure many of you remember that, hopefully. Some may be too young.
That was probably one of the first recipes I ever made.
It was the best thing ever. What was it? Was it cream cheese or sour cream and French onion soup dip?
Oh, I feel like sour cream.
Do you ever do that now?
No, isn't it? It's just not the thing anymore. I know. Okay, before we get on to proper dips, I want to show you my cheats dip, which is, you know, we love hummus, and you buy a really good branded hummus. But if you want to like pimp it up, this is what I do. I don't know, girls, if you do the same. So you get your hummus and you get a can of chickpeas, which you drain and rinse really, really well. And then you put the hummus into a bowl, and I take about half the chickpeas and I crush them in my hands like this, so they're all mushy, and put them in the mixture. I add a bit more lemon juice, a bit more salt, a bit of tahini if I've got it in the cupboard, and I mix and I taste and I mix and I taste. Did I say lemon? I think I did. And then I put it in a serving dish. I sprinkle the whole remaining whole chickpeas on top, and I sprinkle sumac and a bit more salt and olive oil on the top. And it just looks like you've made the most amazing pitta yourself, and all you've done is this.
Yeah.
That's my tip.
Can I just say I pimp it up one step further, and that is I drain the chickpeas and dry them, and then I fry them so that they're crunchy and they sit on top. And then you get your spoon and you smooth the the hummus so that you get like an indentation from the spoon, so that when you, because I put oil on top and it makes it like in the restaurants, and then you sprinkle the sumac on top. That's my
I like it. I like it. I like the frying of the chickpeas. You just fry them in a pan in oil?
No, yeah, a little bit of oil.
I love it. I love it.
And you drain them before you
Oh,
put
yeah. Danielle, your Mahachanim agrees with you. She says you can roast chickpeas too, gives similar flavour. So roast as well as fry. It's a great idea. I love it. Natty, do you want to talk about, oh no, let's go, Nikki wanted the pitta quantities of in the dough, and I'll give it to you ingredients. So 3 teaspoons of dried yeast, half a teaspoon of sugar, 1.5 cups of warm water. It said plus 1 tablespoon, but I actually think I left that out today. 525 grams of plain flour and a teaspoon of salt, and that's it. And you just, I mean, the recipe says to combine the yeast and the sugar and a bit of the water in a bowl, add that to the flour and salt, and mix until a sticky dough is formed, which takes about 3 minutes, and that's it. And then you just take the balls off and roll them in flour and put them on the tea towel, etc., and let them rise on the bench for about half an hour to an hour and a half. Cook them at 200 degrees for 5 to 7 minutes. Super easy. All right, Natty, do you want to talk lip tower dip?
I do. I'm so looking forward to my lunch today. I can't tell you. I've been waiting all weekend to have my oat and seed bread, which I'm going to do. I'm going to slice and toast with my butter, and I bought some beautiful cheddar and my lip tower. And the reason I've set it up like this is because I have really clear memories of when I was about 15 years old, going to my girlfriend's sister's house, who was much older, and sitting there eating. It wasn't oat and seed bread, but it was, whole, like bread with seeds and grains through it, toasted with lip tower dip. And it wasn't cheddar, it was ambrosia cheese. I've got such strong memories of that, so I've recreated it in my own way today, and looking forward to doing the lip tower dip, which is really simple. And again, in our third book, it's a Hungarian dip. It's a cream cheese dip that's flavoured with paprika mainly. And the paprika that I've used, you can just use powdered paprika, but Jackie, my beautiful Monday Morning Cooking Club sister, bought me this jar of paprika paste.
Say, Natty, I got it from straight from Annie Raven. So not from her, but the recipe has come from her, and she told me it's a much better flavour with this paste rather than the powder.
Right. Well, if you can
Can you hold it up to the
And this is the Anna version, or the Ono version, I think is how you say it. See how it's got the lady on front? There's a much stronger one, which is the Peter one, and I can't remember how
so it's a sweet paprika paste rather than a powder.
Yeah. But a powder would work if that's all you have. And what you do is 250 grams of cream cheese, which I've already whizzed up just to stop it at room temperature, but I've mixed it up in my food processor. And to that, I'm going to add 1/3 of a white onion chopped, 1 minced garlic clove, 1/2 teaspoon of Dijon mustard, a teaspoon of my paprika paste, and then some salt, and caraway seeds are optional, but I have a very strong memory of lip tower having a caraway flavour. So the recipe is 1/2 teaspoon of caraway seeds. I've gone down to 1/4 because I don't think my family loves it, but I wanted to have the authentic taste there. So you just add that into your food processor and whiz it up, and you've got your dip.
It's so easy. How long? Well, it lasts a good few days in the fridge, right?
Yeah. Well, it's like any cream cheese based dip, I suppose. I'm just going to turn around and give that a whiz.
It's such a foreign flavour to me, that paprika and caraway. It's very typically Hungarian, isn't it?
Yes.
And the garlic. Yum. Now, I wonder, do you think we're invited to Natty's for lunch? She never said.
As long as you bring your pita bread, and I'll take my lavash.
I don't know that there's going to be any left by the time we finish. It's so good. You all just have to go and do this. It's so amazing. I can't get over it. Every time I make it, I go through the same amazement. So Linda tells us about, the chickpeas. This is great. She does olive oil, sumac and paprika powder, coats the chickpeas and bakes them in the oven. How long for? It would be good to know, to share a temperature and a time with everyone, Linda. It's a really good tip. And roasted chickpeas go really beautifully. They're great as a snack with drinks. They're great in a salad, and they're great on top of hummus. So they're so versatile. How do you best flour a tea towel? Really simple. Just tea towels on the bench and literally just sprinkle flour evenly over it. And if your dough sticks to the tea towel, you know you don't have enough. You really can't over flour these because it just stays on the outside and then it comes off. So it doesn't go into the dough. A pleasure, Jan. Really nice to see you here. Okay, so that's the lip towel. It looks delicious. Natty, while you're over there, we just asked if we were invited for lunch.
Come.
We can.
Yeah, nothing like a lunch invitation.
Out of the oven in half an hour. So
we'll wait till the new life comes out. Hey, Jax.
Yes.
We're not going to go for yesterday's bread.
And we can take home half a loaf each. Actually, we can share all our breads around, so we've got a variety to taste.
That's right. So hopefully you all saw on social media, we posted on Instagram the tuna tartare from our second book and the recipe, which is absolutely wonderful to go with. I would serve it with the lavash. I would serve it with the cracker bread, the nacca bread, I should say. The pita probably not. And the oat bread I would have to toast, I think, before serving it with tuna tartare. Another tip I'd like to give you is the toasts that I make all the time. So if I buy a good sourdough bread, like an Iggy's or a Sonoma or something like that, in a whole loaf, and there's leftover, which there always is, I just slice it really finely and get a big oven tray and either put olive oil and like smear the bread in it and turn it over and smear both sides, sprinkle with some salt and cook it at about 180 for about 25 minutes, give or take. Turn it over if you want to halfway through. You can also use olive oil spray. It's just a more expensive version. If you want to spray it, it's much easier. Both sides works really well. And then the toasts are good for a couple of weeks. And they're delicious with absolutely every dip and every schmear and every tuna tartare, whatever it is. They're really, really versatile and a very good thing. Linda says 180 degrees and varies the time depending on how crunchy she wants them. And for salads, she wants them really crunchy, so up to 30 minutes. And she credits Lainey Kadri, who's actually a cook in our books as well, for the recipe. And she sometimes experiments with flavors with za'atar, etc., etc. So yeah, you could really flavor the chickpeas with whatever spices you like. How's that dip, Natty?
It's taken me back. I'm 15 years old again. It is just beautiful. I really, we made it when we were testing recipes for the third book, but other than that, and when I was 15, they're the only times I've eaten it, and I love it. I love it. It's beautiful.
Please save someone for tomorrow.
Sure.
We're meeting in person. We can all bring along our breads. So we'd love to hear from you guys in the last 10 minutes of this lunchtime chat. If you've got any recipes you'd like to share, crackers, breads, anything else, any dips that are your favorites, any shortcuts, because we do love shortcuts. We'd love to hear from you so we can share them with everyone else. And if you're not going to share anything with us, then we'll just keep on sharing with you. There's one more recipe I want to talk about, which is the Oshi Mosh dip, which I posted on the other day. It's on our website. So if you go to the Monday Morning Cooking Club website and you go to Oshi Mosh, OSHEMOSH, it's this incredible Persian dip from our friend Nikki Vernon, and it looks like this. And it's so unique because what it is, it's a yogurt-based dip. So you use a beautiful Greek yogurt and then you fry onions until they're really super golden and caramelized. And you blanch some spinach or silver beet. I can't remember which one it is. Silver beet. And you blanch it and squeeze the water out and chop it up. And then you add a can of beans, which of course you've rinsed really and drained really well. And that's it. And then you've got So I'll give you the recipe if you want to write it down. If you don't have the book, it's in this book, The Feast Goes On, second book. Half a bunch of silver beet with the thick stalks removed, third of a cup of olive oil, 3 onions, salt and pepper, 520 grams of Greek yogurt and some garlic and a tin of cannellini beans, and that's it. So you fry the onions till caramelized, you blanch the spinach and drain and chop them up and mix it all together and season well. And it is absolutely
Delicious.
and different. Okay. Also, Linda says she'd also like to share a biscuit like the knacker bread with no flour at all. 60 grams of, oh, they have got 60 grams of flax seeds. Yeah, I'd love you to share the recipe. We could share it with everybody else. There's lots of those seed biscuits around though. There's a lot of people are making them and they're very popular because I think they're perceived as being healthy.
Without the butter.
Without the, until you put, you know, butter on top. But butter's good. There's no problem with butter. And there's lots of delicious dips that are, you know, full of really good things that you can put on top. Okay, so, oh, okay, so this is from Jan and her sister Meg, who's in Glen Innes. Meg was actually the one who got us to Glen Innes, I must say, and Jan's here today. She says the ottolenghi labneh with olives, pistachios and oregano. The recipe's on the web. And he says to serve with tomatoes, but they leave them out and just serve with the lavash. Yeah, I agree. Labneh is a great thing. For any of you who haven't ever tried to make your own labneh, it's so good to just, I just get like Greek yogurt and put it in a paper towel or chucks lined or muslin lined strainer, colander, and mix it with salt, a lot of salt and pepper, and just let it drain. And you just get this amazing labneh. But have a look for ottolenghi's recipe online. That's a great idea. And Marilena says, she makes cornbread. Yeah, we love cornbread. Yeah.
We have cornbread.
Yeah, we've got a cornbread in, I'm trying to remember which book it is in actually. Second book.
Got an index, isn't it, Lise?
Second book with the guacamole.
Third book.
Thanks, Esther. See you later. Thanks for coming along. So the cornbread's got, if anyone wants to make a note of this recipe, it's a cup of yellow cornmeal, 2 eggs, a cup of grated cheddar, a cup of grated parmesan, sounding good already, and a can of creamed corn. Oh, yeah, typos here, I think. We'll try to get the recipe from this and send it to you if we can. If not, Marilena, maybe you could email us the recipe. That would be great, and then we'll share it on our Insta stories. That'd be fantastic if you wouldn't mind sending us the recipe. And Linda Kugel, Linda, the same thing. If you could please send us the recipe, that would be great, and then we can share it with everybody on Instagram and Facebook. Thank you, Marilena, and thank you, Linda, for those recipes. That'd be great. Okay, so if there's any more questions for us, I think we're going to wrap it up at sort of the end of our lunch break, or your lunch break maybe, and we're ready to go to Natanya's lunch now. Imagine if we just turned up on her door in 5 minutes, Jax. What do you think?
It's no joke.
Are you there? Are you going?
Take your apron off now, and you can make me a cup of tea, please.
Sure.
Yes, Linda, sure. Send them as a photo, no problem. I will put that. Thanks, Jan, for joining us. If there's no more questions, let me just check if there are any in Q&A. I can't see any.
No.
I think that we will wrap it up. Thank you all for joining us and for sitting with us at lunchtime. It's been fun for me. I don't know about you girls, but I've had a lot of fun sitting here talking and cooking. I'm sure you have too.
Yeah, but I'm starving now.
I've been nibbling at this all the way. And if you do cook anything from any of these sessions, we would absolutely love you to post your pictures and tag us on Instagram, Monday Morning CC, because then nothing gives us greater joy than to see what everybody's cooking, and hope that we've inspired you to go get bread baking and cracker making and dip mixing. Thank you all for coming along. So happy you're inspired. Thanks, Shirley. Thanks, Joy. Thank you, everybody. Thank you. Thanks, you. Thanks, Julie. Bye, everyone. Signing off for now. Till next time. We'll be back in a couple of weeks with something else delicious. We just have to decide what we're going to share with you next time. Something yum, I'm sure. Jax, thanks. Natty, thanks.
See you.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, girls. Bye, everybody. Thank you. Bye, Sophie. Bye, Amanda. Bye, all. I'm going to end now. See you all. Bye.